Hi, welcome to another studentsoфenglish.com video. Today I'm going to present a very special lesson. It's called Oral Language Reading and Writing. And this is a group lesson, so there'll be 3, 4, 5 students in the same classroom, in the same Google Hangout session with me, the instructor. And so there's several benefits to this as a group lesson. The first is that we don't have to all be at the same level. So there may be a beginner student in there, there may be an early intermediate, a couple intermediates, perhaps a high intermediate or advanced student. It doesn't matter. You're going to learn from the interactions that they are having with me, the instructor, as well as you will receive individualized instruction from me. So that is very beneficial for an English language learner at all levels. And the other thing that makes this type of lesson great is that you receive it at a fraction of the cost of a one-on-one lesson. I know for many learners it's difficult to pay for a full one-on-one lesson from a native teacher from the United States or from England. So this allows you to gain access to a high-quality lesson with a native speaker from one of those countries. So let me explain further what that means. So as I said, there's 3, 4, 5 learners in the lesson. Each person's going to pay $10. And so, you're going to get a full hour of high quality instruction at a fraction of the cost, because typically a one-on-one lesson is around $30 an hour. Now, it does fluctuate and also depends on the specialty or the specialization of the instructor. But by US standards, the average price is $30 per hour. So you're getting this high quality instruction at a fraction of the cost for $10. And that's payable through PayPal. It's very easy to complete those transactions. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what the oral language reading and writing lesson can look like. What are the people doing? What's happening in this picture? So let's think about that for a minute. Okay, so the first thing that we would want to do is to identify the location. Where is this place? So to one of the people that are in the group, I would ask, where is this place? And so they may respond that it's an office. So what we will go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and create our first label saying what the place is, okay? So I'm going to modify this label here to say office. So that's modified, and let's just put that at the top here. We know that the place here is an office, okay? Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to start to identify the things that we see. So that same person may respond, I may ask a question. So what are some things that you see in this office? So someone might say, I see computers. Okay, so what we can do is create the label. And I might just say one computer, because we know if we label one, we know if they look the same, it's going to be the same label. So I will move this here. And then I'm going to take an arrow and I'm going to point to the object that the word labels. Okay, so let's just go with this one up front here. So computer, right here. Okay, so then I'll ask, what else do you see? Someone might say people working. Okay, so we can label that. And at this point, we're not making sentences. We're just labeling simply what we see. We'll come back and use these labels to construct full sentences here shortly. So here's a nice little phrase here, people working. And maybe we can do like let's put this like right here. And then we'll do 2 arrows. Since people is plural, we'll show it pointing to two people here. Okay, so allow me to get that reorientated here. Oops. And there we have it. Okay, so we have the computer, people working. What are some other things that we might notice here? So we could say lights, or actually, yeah, we can say lights. Now, depending on the level of the students, we may go into more detail. We might talk about, well, what kind of lights they are. If they're a lower level student, then lights would definitely be good and sufficient. If they're a higher level student, then we may ask, okay, well, what type? And so they may say a fluorescent lights, which looks like what these are and pretty typical for an office of this type. So we have that there. Let's see here. Some other things that we can label. How about desks, right? There's desks there. Here we can ask about the color. So what color are the desks? And so someone might say that there's white desks, okay? So we're just going to label that. We'll just label 1. White desk here. Okay, and then what I like to do on the adjective, and I would like to color code the parts. So I like to keep the nouns red, and the adjectives I like to turn pink. So, and that's just my own personal system. So let's put white desk. Let's put that right here, the label, and then let me grab the arrow. And let's move this here. All right, so at the first level, we went ahead and, well, actually at the first 2 levels, we looked at the picture, thought about what do we see, what's happening, and then we made labels. We labeled people, actions, things. So now we're ready to start constructing sentences. And so on the first sentence, we're going to come back to what the place is. It's good to identify what it is. So we could say something like, this is a photo of an office. And hold on, let me make that a little bit bigger here and bold. All right, so we have our identifying place. This is a photo of an office. Now, we would go around and using our labels and obviously the picture itself, talk about what's happening in this scene, in this photograph, okay? So someone might talk about the lights. So I might ask one of the students, so what can you say about the lights? And they might say something like, there are bright white lights on the ceiling, right? The ceiling's the top part of the room. There are bright white lights on the ceiling, okay? Then I might ask another person, okay? And I might say, what are the people doing? And so someone might answer, people are working very hard at their white desks. Another thing that we might ask is something like, how about this woman up front here with the black coat on the back of her chair and the purple shirt? What's she doing? And someone might answer, she is typing on her computer. So we just keep going, just describing the scene. We can use the present progressive, what's happening right now, like we're doing, right, like what we're doing. But also we can use the past tense. So we can talk about, we can pretend this already happened, and we can say, so what happened in this photograph? And that way we can switch it to the past tense to work there. Or we can move it into the future. We can say this is what it's going to look like in the office in a couple hours. And so then we'll be able to use the future tense of will and going to. So really, this type of strategy can work with a lot of different tenses, and through the visual nature of the photograph, as well as the collaborative work, we're able to construct texts that is very useful for learners at different levels. So we don't all have to be at the same level, and that's the beauty of this strategy. We can have an early intermediate student, an intermediate, a high intermediate, because as the facilitator, I'm going to identify what it is that you need to work on, and then I'll be asking you direct questions to help get you to that next level. So before we finish up with this, the last thing is to note is that once we finish constructing our text, we may go back in and we may make some edits to improve our grammar, and then we'll end the session by reading it. And we'll read it a couple different times. We may read it as a group. Some people may read it individually, and that'll help us to work on all 4 domains here, basically listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And once we're done, I'll be able to submit this to you either through Google Drive or through email so that you'll be able to go back and look at it further. Thank you for joining me today on this special group lesson of oral language reading. If this is something that you're interested in, you can reach me in a couple different ways. You can go to my YouTube channel and contact me from there, or my Google Plus page, Facebook, or you can go directly to my website at studentsofelenglish.com. And so what we'll do is we'll get in contact and we'll find days and times that'll work well for you, and then I'll match you up with other learners that are able to work on those days and times as well. Or perhaps you may already have a group of people that you want to work with. Just provide me that information and we will make it happen. So thank you so much for being with me today, and happy English learning. Goodbye.